David ZIMALETA. In today's video, I would like to show you kind of like what I'm doing with the house and stuff. I'm doing some light framing and stuff like that, and I'm also finished with the partition. I'm kind of like finishing up in today's video and running all the electricals. We're also going to install one outlet and stuff like that. This is kind of like not a how-to, but you could kind of see like a basic little thing, kind of like what it takes to actually do something like this. I would like to encourage you guys, if you have a house like this, or if you're thinking about buying a house like this, this type of houses, they're nothing but 2x4s and drywall. You know, the way I see it, there's really nothing to it. If you really kind of think about it, I probably spent about maybe like $2,500 on windows. Probably spent about like, I don't know, like $800 in 2x4s and like 2x6s, and you know, like some plywood and stuff like that. Maybe I spent a little bit more with all the plywood, but you know, then you get like stuff like siding and stuff like that, like in trim, that adds up. Like that's like another $3K and stuff like that. But guys, you know, to throw like a crazy number out there, like $300,000 or like $200,000 for like a home, and of course there's like, you know, like more pricier homes and stuff like that. I just don't see like a reason to pay that, like unless, you know, somebody is pretty wealthy and or like they don't have like time for it. Like there's absolutely like nothing wrong with it. But for me, I'm thinking, you know, like why not just buy something, go ahead and like repair it and stuff like that. Like this home, after all, only cost about $13,000 when I bought it. Sure, I already spent some money on it. I've been spending a lot of money on this house. But guys, I would like to encourage you by watching me and seeing kind of like what I'm doing as a normal homeowner. Like I'm not a contractor, I'm not anybody special. I just basically work as a driver. Like I have like my own company, so I just drive like my vans cross country. That's my main job. It has been for the past 12 years. You know, I've been self-employed basically for 12 years. So there's been ups and downs and stuff like that, just like with any business. So I wanted to not try to buy something, you know, like for 30-year mortgage. With the recent, you know, like home foreclosures and stuff like that, and this house was in one as well. There's a lot of people, they're losing their homes. To me, it's just not worth it, you know, because you're just not really sure, like, what is the job security going to be like in the future. And right now you could see kind of like the homes are climbing in prices and stuff like that, and you know, like it's gonna be another bubble sooner or later. It always happens if you trace history back, you know, like all the way to like, I don't care how far you go. You could go to the 60s or the 40s or the 20s. There's always been crashes. There's crashes happening maybe about like every 7 years and stuff like that. And I was experiencing the recent crash. I didn't lose my house, but I seen some of my close family and stuff that lost them, including my parents. They lost their home. Taught me a big lesson. My uncle almost lost his. My friend lost his home. I have some other friends that basically lost their homes. So it impacted like a lot of people, you know, stuff like that. And you know, like buying this home as a bank foreclosure, it was taken away for a very long time. They could not really sell it, you know, that quick, I guess. Nobody wanted this overgrown property. You know, like this house was like, it's just a dump, you know. I really don't, you know, like have any words for it. It's just, nobody would really even care for this, you know, like house and stuff at the time that it was. And actually when I bought it, I talked to my neighbor and he was like, he says, you overpaid. That's what he told me. So, you know, obviously the way I was looking at it, I was buying nothing but 2x4s and, you know, like basically drywall. And like the very first thing I did is I ripped out all the drywall. I ripped out all the insulation because it was like R7 insulation. I removed all the windows. I busted up all the holes. I mean, walls that was on the inside, because the inside walls, they were not built to my liking. They were not in the right places, like the way I liked them. And I changed all the walls up. I mean, this is a single story house. It doesn't have any like supporting, you know, type of beams and stuff like that. So all that stuff was okay for me to remove. That way I see it. If it's not, hey, it's going to be up to me. It means if something breaks, it's gonna be on me, guys, not on anybody else. And I don't plan to sell this house. This is just gonna be for me. So don't worry about like any kind of mistakes that I'll be making. I'll be fixing my mistakes as I go along, as I make them and stuff like that. Like to me, doesn't really matter, you know. I mean, you live and learn. You're not just gonna like learn by like not doing. So you just gotta do it, just like Nike says, just do it. So just do it, basically. But anyways, guys, without no further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. Hey guys, I'm just going to do some light framing here. Basically, this is the last piece for the framing on the inside for that wall addition that I was doing. I guess it's more kind of like a wall partition than anything. So finally, I actually, you know, built this. It just took, you know, pretty much a day to do. And I'm so glad that I got it done. But this is the way I kind of frame, guys. I already actually have my 2x4s. They're marked. The wood is pre-cut. And I just basically nail it in. And just try to hold it with my foot or the hand. And try to be careful, you know, like not to actually staple like my own hand. Well, more like nail it, like with a nailer. But I never actually nailed myself before. And these guns, I think they're pretty safe. They won't shoot nails until you actually press it down on it, like where you're going to be nailing. So, you know, that kind of thing. So I try to keep my foot far enough to where like it's actually not, like if it does go through, like it's not going to really hurt me. But guys, this is quite exciting. My project is coming along. I'm probably going to spend another week to 2 weeks on it to get as much done as possible. But obviously I already got like so much supplies, so much stuff to do it with, and I just keep buying more and stuff like that. Well, let me show you where this thing installs. It's right here, right between the doors. This door is pretty much like a 30-inch door, and I already actually pre-drilled the holes, as you could see, for the wiring. And this is basically all I'm gonna do, line it up, you know, by just eyeballing it. I know this might be like funny to some people, but that's actually how I do it. And I just build everything myself. So just one nail over there and you could actually easily adjust. It's like somebody holding it, you know. So I'm gonna stick another one. And nailing it, it's like so easy. Sometimes I use a drill, basically. I like my hammer drill the best to put in screws because they just go in like so smoothly. And guys, in this same video, not only that, I'm actually you know, doing this little framing here, finishing up. So you could see I'm actually going to run some wiring. And yesterday, basically, I already attached everything to the fuse panel. I actually disconnected from the main disconnecting breaker. So now that you know that the power is actually not connected, everything's disconnected, here's what I'm doing. I'm running some 12 gauge wire. This is a little bit of an overkill, I know, but actually that's what I'm doing. You know, this will keep the breakers from popping. Plus I could use like 20 amp breakers. And you know, this is just the bedroom here. But the way I see it is, if you're gonna plug in some kind of fan or like anything in it now, like it's not gonna blow it, or you could plug in like AC or heating unit or whatever you need. It's just, you know, not gonna blow the breakers and stuff. Basically, guys, running all this wire, this like actually looks pretty simple, but this is actually quite a workout. I just kind of like wanted to show this to you, not as a how-to, but kind of like the process, I guess, if you never, you know, like ran some wires before, that you do it, you know, like this. Actually, that's the way I do it. So maybe if there's some electricians, maybe they do it differently, but I'm self-taught and this is what's common sense to me. Now in the corner over here, it's a little bit tricky, and there's a special tool for pulling wires through, and I actually do have it. I decided not to use it, and I was actually able to run it straight through there. And I'm going to like do an overkill on the outlets, and I'm gonna install probably like 7 or 8 electrical outlets in this room here, just on the basically the partition and these 2 walls, because the other wall actually has the old wiring. This one pretty much I kind of like rebuilt everything as new, so I'm running, you know, like new electrical. But on the other side, I'm kind of keeping the same thing. It's basically 14 gauge wire, and I'm going to do a really quick installation of this outlet here towards the back, you know, like of the wall here. There's also another 14 gauge wire sticking up over there. You can't really see it right now, it's like behind the installation. So I'm kind of thinking to use it for something. I'll maybe add something, maybe like towards the top, maybe like in a corner or something, maybe like an outlet for something. I'm gonna figure out like what I want to use it for, because, you know, 14 gauge wires, they work fine. You know, it's a normal type of wiring, but if you're gonna plug in any kind of like you know, like heavy duty stuff like 1500 amps or like watts or whatever, you know, it's easy to, you know, trip the breaker. And also, like, I would not want electrical fires to happen just because you overloaded, you know, like a circuit and stuff. Now, the electrical outlets that I'm using, these are pretty much commercial grade. They're 20 amp outlets, and they have child safety things. They cost a little more, but I think it's worth the money. I'm really sorry that you really can't see exactly how I'm doing. Like, I'm not, like, you know, zooming in and stuff. But what I did, like, in this video is just to show you kind of like how long it kind of takes. I do have some other videos on this that I actually made this week as well. It's a little bit of a close-up and you could kind of see what I'm doing, but this will be a good indicator like how long it takes to really install an outlet. I'm really not sure what they charge for installing outlets and stuff, but obviously, you know, like installing it yourself, like, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you disconnect the breaker before you do it, but it's nothing to it. You know, so if you're gonna be like, you know, doing it yourself, just make sure you're gonna find out like your codes and, you know, whatever, you know, you have like in your city or state. You know, don't try to, you know, like blame it on me if you do it the wrong way. But I try to keep my channel positive. Like, not everything is a how-to, but some stuff here, it's just like to encourage you guys that you can actually work in your house as a homeowner. You could do like some basic stuff. I mean, like, the main stuff is already done. Like, I mean, the house is pretty much sitting on foundation and everything's done. A lot of the stuff is a remodel. And I quickly wanted to point out, you know, because this video is not going to be very long, if you did buy like a new home, that's a nice cookie cutter home, as I like to call them, a lot of times I've seen people that bought them or have, you know, had them built and stuff, and they paid like 200 grand for them. They will not have like a good, you know, kitchen cabinets in there or good appliances. They're gonna be like black. They're lucky if they're stainless steel, and they're gonna have some carpets, some regular like vinyl floor, and maybe some laminate here and there. Most of these upgrades, homeowners spend like thousands upon thousands of dollars while they're living in a home to try to do. Like this home that I got, it's pretty much had all that stuff missing, so I'm just buying all the stuff brand new and redoing some of the old stuff. Of course, I have to do the windows. Most likely you're not gonna need to do the windows or doors because everything's gonna be good and just gonna leave it you know, as it is. But the way I see it, guys, homes are nothing but 2x4s and drywall, guys. It is not worth it for me, in my opinion, to try to have a 30-year mortgage. But there's nothing wrong with it because not everybody has time for this. Thank you for watching, guys, so much. So guys, if you liked the video, please hit a like, and if you're not a subscriber already, please subscribe because I make lots of videos